Okay, I haven't did one of these videos in a hot minute, but it is that time again. Talking about groups like OBL Nation, DAP, and pretty much all the different predator catching channels. Um, Now the reason why I'm kind of lumping these all in one is because while each group does things different, right? Like I personally love Elizabeth, Skeeter Jean, and so on, right? Even Gideon. Gideon is pretty cool. But they all still essentially have the same issue, or I have the same issue with all of them, is that I'm asking the question, should channels like them be on the platform? Because in all reality, I get what they're trying to do. Okay, they want to protect the public. They want to expose these monsters. They want to expose these monsters to the world, to their jobs, to their families, and let the community know who's living in their cities, who's a part of their family, and so forth. Right? Like, there's a lot of good that comes from those groups, and I don't want to sit there and take that away. But there's still a problem in a sense, right? They're a problem for businesses that they go into, and when the businesses are doing their job, people want to sit there and call them prep protectors. Oh, they're just protecting the pedos. And it's like, do you not understand that their job is not to sit there and be helping these groups in any way or anything like that? And if they do anything that steps out of line, they're at risk, right? So I always have an issue with that. And they essentially dock these businesses and try to get them shut down, try to boycott them and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, they're just doing their jobs, right? And you have groups like OBL Nation and DAP, and groups like specifically DAP, like OBL Nation. I'm having issues with. I've had issues with in the past because what he essentially tries to do is some of the stuff he does. I feel like it's for clout and stuff like all this fighting and stuff like that. Oh, we're gonna call it mutual combat and stuff. Bro, are you serious? First of all, groups like that do that, like him and Dap, the only thing you wind up doing is that you make it harder for the prosecutors and the police to actually arrest these people. Okay? So what they wind up doing is they get protected essentially by that. They go on the ground, and the minute that the channel is banned and it's blocked and everything like that, and all the social medias can't essentially cover it, they just go back out and they do it again. Okay. So while you think that you're actually doing a good job, you're really not. And I really do hate when people sit there and say, well, the police don't do anything when they call them. Well, yeah, think about it. There's this thing called chain of evidence that you can't just sit there and take stuff from these people. Do you understand how easy it is to sit there and, make up evidence and make up text messages and videos and stuff like that? So they can't sit there and take the chance of even one group. Because here's the thing: for every person that do it right, there's always going to be somebody that's going to mess it up for everyone, right? So some groups that they'll sit there and work with will be great at times, but then you have groups like DAP. And let me tell you something about DAP for a hot minute. I've been watching a lot of this stuff on YouTube. I mean, on Instagram. First of all, I would love to sit there and show you clips, but I can't because, well, they're extremely violent. And I'm not going to sit there and try to make it seem like these people aren't getting what they deserve. Okay. But they have taken this thing to a whole new level, right? I mean, the assault that they sit there and do on these people is just like, I'm not going to say over the top, but like they are definitely wilding out. Like they're a group that just got so done and so tired with what they're dealing with the police. And I get their struggle to an extent, but they just practically said F it, right? They confronted this guy, and you know the story, in a store. And Jay, unfortunately, got, shot. Okay? Got shot. They're still doing that, right? It's almost like they didn't learn anything. Jay might not have been the only person that could have got shot because they decided to lure this guy in that store. Okay, so now you essentially put everybody else at risk because you want to sit there and catch this guy. And I get it. These people are the scum of the goddamn earth. But what are you doing? You put everybody else in risk. And this is the reason why Skeeter, Elizabeth, and some other people want to sit there and lure these people to Airbnbs, hotels, and stuff like that to get them away from the general public. So if something like that does happen, nobody else has to sit there and pay the price for what you are doing. And then there's the fans. Let's talk about the fans for a hot minute. Okay? If you disagree with anything that these people say, you're automatically a predator. I've never seen a group of um, just nut jobs in general, that you can't criticize them. You're not allowed to criticize them. When you do, you're in the wrong. You're bad. You're terrible. You're a pred. You're a pred protector. Especially when the cops, like, what is it? Pred versus people versus pred. A guy who has numerously came at the cops sideways for essentially doing their job. Do we like it sometimes that they can't always arrest the press? Absolutely. But there are better ways to handle it than acting like a goddamn toddler. And so when you get to all that, and you get to them that they're trying to come on YouTube as a platform, they're liabilities. All these groups essentially, even the ones that I like, are liabilities, right? Because for the super duper fans of these channels, I want you to understand something. YouTube is not just for catching predators. YouTube is for a multitude of things. And it shouldn't have to sit there and be in jeopardy of a lawsuit because somebody didn't do it right, caught the wrong person, or whatever the situation is. Remember a channel called Pet Patrol? I think they still may be out. I'm not too sure. He said that he has caught the wrong, or essentially got the wrong person by either twice or three times. Are you kidding me? Now, yes, he took down the channel. I mean, he took down the videos and stuff like that, but there are people that will go there, they'll watch it for a little bit, and then they would just shut it off. You telling me that, and some of these people have went live and done it. So it's not like, oh, you recorded it, it was wrong, and then you erased it, you didn't put it out there. No, you did that live. And not just once, but about twice or three times. Imagine if those people sat there and they decide to sue YouTube for even just putting that shit up there. Now, I enjoy YouTube, not just as a person who does videos, but as a person who watches other content creators and other stuff on the platform. And so I don't want YouTube to sit there and get in danger or anything like that. Make the rules tougher for other creators to sit there and do stuff that they generally love because they decided, oh, well, we're going to sit there and play God and we're going to sit there and do this because it's the right thing to do. Right? Because that's the only thing that you're essentially doing is you're putting YouTube at risk. Because, again, for all the people that do it right and the people that I've mentioned, like Courtney Elizabeth, I think it's Courtney Elizabeth, Skitter Jean, Gideon, and stuff like that, you'll always have a group that will want to sit there and do this for clout. And I'm not saying that his heart isn't in the right place, like Rami or OBL Nation, but the fighting and stuff like that, like, bro, come on, what are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you essentially trying to do? I understand you want to whoop these people's asses, and I'm not just saying that they don't deserve it, because I feel like that's pretty tame. But that's the type of stuff. Now he's in there scrambling, by the way, right? I think he's took down all his videos on his original channel except for the upload that he did. I think he has like 2 other channels. So, it's one of those things where it's like, and there's probably more people that I could sit there and talk about, but I didn't want to sit there and make this video too long. But that's pretty much the question now. You know, you think that these channels should sit there and be on YouTube? Because I love when people say, and by the way, I was out there reading some of the comments and stuff like that, and people like, this app sucks. Why the fuck are you on it then? You made an account. And I guarantee you the people that sit there and complain about them not being on it and the app is all bad, they're still going to sit there and watch YouTube. Now, you do have other channels, uh, not locals. What the hell is the other thing? Rumble, right? Rumble's a little more, whatever. But I'm telling you right now that while these channels that want to go extreme and hardcore, like DAP and whooping people's asses and everything like that, after a while, they're not, even Rumble's not going to be able to keep up with that for long because there's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be lawsuits. And, this is the reason why they have locals. Now, they used to have Patreon, but even Patreon stopped. Um, I don't, ultimately, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like locals is going to be around for a little bit, and then people are going to sit there and start to sue locals for even putting that stuff up there, putting their images up there, and then locals is going to go away until they come out with something new. But I don't know. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are about all this stuff, and I don't know. I'll see you in the next video.